Hey, welcome into the After Party, the weekly coaches show following Friday night tailgate party. This week, I'm joined with Hardin-Jefferson's own Zach Bass. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank y'all so much for having us.
Yeah, so I know when we spoke at Two-A-Days, you said there's definitely an improved product, and we've really seen the growth kind of on screen here, during our shows, just in the last few games that we've been to. I know 2020, if you can believe it, was the last time that the Hawks had at least one district win under their belt.
Right.
What's kind of flipped the switch for your guys?
I think they're bought in. One thing for sure that I think is different than previous year's teams, at least since I've been at HJ, it's a group of kids that love to play for each other. And I think if the guy on your right or your left is playing hard for you, it's going to make you play that much harder for them. They enjoy being around each other. They hang out together outside of school, outside of practice, outside of games. And they're just overall a really fun group to coach.
Yeah. In the district games that you guys have played so far, what have your guys learned?
The importance of overcoming adversity. I think we did a really good job of that versus Livingston. I think we struggled with it a little versus a really good LCM team. There's ebbs and flows to a game, highs and lows, if you will. Against Livingston, we did a really good job overcoming a couple of mistakes early. And overall in this district, you have to be on every week if you want to have a chance to compete and win. So, each opponent presents a new opportunity each week.
I was going to say, I know you have 20 seniors on that squad, and I know, again, when the last time you and I spoke, you said that those guys deserve to have some success. Now that you've gotten some wins under your belt, what's kind of been the energy like in the locker room?
I think the energy's been high. It's been up. I think we're happy that the fact that we have 3 wins this year after not winning a game in 23 and getting a district win for the first time in a while is also really, really good. We're happy with it, but we're not satisfied with it. Each week we have 2 types of goals. We have our short-term goal, which is defeat the opponent for that week, and then the long-term goal, which is make the playoffs. And you have to stack district wins up in order to be able to do that, but you have to do it kind of on a week-by-week basis and not get ahead of your skis. And so the energy's been good. We're going to recalibrate, refocus heading into next week, and like I said, we're healthy for the most part, and we're looking forward for, like I said, some competition.
Yeah, obviously you're looking to carry some of that early success that we've seen from your guys. How much of that is a confidence booster for this team? Because like you said, having some wins under your belt, for the first time in a bit, how much of a confidence booster is that for your guys?
Well, it's an absolute confidence booster. I think there's different phases when you're rebuilding a team. I think there's the hope, the team that hopes to win. And then, maybe a few things go your way and it happens. And then you get to a phase where you believe you can win. And I think that's where we are right now. And we're trying to get to that next phase, which is where you expect to win on a week-in basis or a week-out basis. And so we're in that believe we can win phase. I think when we step on the field, regardless of the opponent, our kids believe that they can win. And we got to keep working and keep improving so that we get to the point where we expect to win.
Yeah. By that same token, I know your guys, you had a lot of young guys taking the field this season. And I know when we met again during Two-A-Days that it was all about kind of getting your guys acquainted with the playbook. Right. What's kind of been the job now since making the adjustments?
I think by now, when you're at the halfway point of the season, you have a really good idea of what your kids can and can't do. And so, each coach, like you said, there's a playbook or there's an idea that, this is our base offense or base defense, or you kind of go into a year and you find out what your kids do well. Like, all right, well, what can we take well and put our wrinkles in there, and take what we're not doing all that well, maybe put that back on the shelf and try that again next year. So I think we're at that phase now. It's like, all right, we can execute, these things. How do we make them look a little different each week? How do we improve upon them? And how do we present them in a way that doesn't look like you're repeating the same things over and over? So other than that, you kind of have an idea of which kids are your playmakers, which kids are your role players, and who's in those support roles.
Yeah. District play, there's obviously no handouts. You got to earn it each and every week, and I think that you have really emphasized that to your guys, I think, going into the season. With that, you also changed districts.
Right.
Realignment, bringing in some familiar foes like Bridge City, like you mentioned,
yes,
and kind of renewing some old rivalries and maybe some of the teams that you guys play in some other sports. What do the Hawks need to do to kind of continue to be successful in this district?
We got to play clean, which is no pre-snap penalties and taking care of the football. Offensively, we need to finish drives on a more consistent basis. And then defensively, we got to get off the field on third down. And I think if you can do that consistently, game in and game out, you're going to be in a position to win. Doesn't mean it's going to be handed to you. No one's going to give it to you. You have to take it. You have to earn it, because every opponent in our district is a worthy opponent. And so I think if you can take care of those things, and to be cliche, play in all three phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams, and do it in a consistent and fair way, you're going to have an opportunity to succeed.
Yeah. What kinds of things are you anticipating from some of your opponents down the stretch? I know we're early on into district play, but what kinds of things are you anticipating looking forward?
Man, Smalley's doing an awesome job at Bridge City. They're off to a fantastic start, and he's always been a good friend and a colleague that's been really supportive. So it's good to see a really good guy get off to a good start. And we know guys on staff. Aaron Manus has done a good job with their offense, and then Chris Terrio is a defensive coordinator, and he was at Nederland before. And as you kind of go through Huffman's on the way up. Joey Bukta's got the Huffman Falcons playing really, really well. They kind of had a similar year as we did last year, and they've bounced back. You got a scrappy Lumberton team. Of course, Vider's always tough. They run the slot T, and Coach Dubois really believes in that, and they've done a good job over there. And so you can't take anyone lightly, and you have to show up with your A game every week, and you're going to get everyone's best shot. And I think it's a district where it's pretty level. I think each team, there's things that they do better than maybe some others. But if it's any team's week where they can take advantage of their opponent. So we got to be on top of our A game in order to compete.
Well, best of luck to you. We'll, of course, be tuning in or all the action at your game, and, of course, all the games around Southeast Texas. And be sure to catch it on Friday night tailgate party after the late night news at 10:35.